One of the biggest things that we tend to see is that reviews hands down move the needles for a local business. When you're replying to reviews, it's not so much that you're replying directly to the person that left you a negative review. You're replying to the tens of other people that are potentially reading that review, considering, do I want to do business with this person? Why that's so important to capture them at that particular moment.
Because they're at their peak happiness with you, with us, with the work that you did and accomplished for them. And if there are any unresolved issues, then I can ask, did you feel that we did a good job? Did you really enjoy the work? What was your favorite part? And we could do the prompting questions. And they're more prone to discuss the things that they didn't like at that point in time as well, which can also be addressed to nip it in the butt before they leave the review. But to your point, Brian, it's great to ask people when we have the most goodwill, favoritism, and they're on that emotional high because that project that they trusted you with has come to completion and they see it all. Welcome to Local Contractor Marketing, built for contractors who want to scale smarter. I'm Rena Bindi. Along me is my co-host, Brian Cotto. Together, we've spent years helping service-based companies grow their brand, attract better clients, increase visibility, revenue, and win in today's digital world. Each episode will have real conversations about what's working, what's not, and how contractors can stay ahead. If you're running a business with a team and big goals, you are in the right place. Hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Local Contractor Marketing, where we talk about marketing for local contractors. Imagine that.
How's it going today, Arena?
I'm having a great morning, man. Ready to lock and
Awesome.
load and talk about getting some reviews today. How does that sound to you?
Sounds like a plan. So yeah, let's talk about the 5-star review system that works while you sleep. One of the biggest things that we tend to see is that reviews hands down move the needles for a local business. Whether you're a service area business that's fighting the whole idea of proximity, or whether you have a brick and mortar, reviews are the lifeblood for Google Business Profile. It's what makes you appear higher in the search, all things considered.
Really?
When you have an optimized profile, it's that fuel on the fire, right? So let's talk about one simple habit that brings in new customers every single month, every single week. Let's go ahead and dive right in here. So one of the things that we often see, Rena, is that if you ask at that happy moment right after a job completion, right? And I know one of the things you and I have done is, like, when we work with any clients, we'll send them things like dot cards, right? It's the, hey, here's the card. By the way, it scans, goes right over to our review things. Would you mind telling us a little bit about the service? If you were happy with it, tell us about that. Let's talk a little bit about that. Why that's so important to capture them at that particular moment.
Because they're at their peak happiness with you, with us, with the work that you did and accomplished for them. And if there are any unresolved issues, then when we ask them for that and they say, well, or I notice there's some sort of a hesitation, then I can ask, did you feel that we did a good job? Did you really enjoy the work? What was your favorite part? And we could do the prompting questions. And they're more prone to discuss the things that they didn't like at that point in time as well, which can also be addressed to nip it in the butt before they leave the review. But to your point, Brian, it's great to ask people when we have the most goodwill, favoritism, and they're on that emotional high because that project that they trusted you with has come to completion and they see it all.
And I think that's a really good point, is they become your cheerleader, right? When the job is well done, and they're more likely to post photos of it and even go cross-platform. The same could also be said for negative reviews, right? So to echo what you're saying, you want to make sure that those things are addressed right then and there. You don't want to let any kind of negativity fester. because that's when people go to all of these multiple platforms, right? Yelp and Better Business Bureau and all these other things, not just Google, but when they're upset, they go to all of the places, right? So it really comes down to making the customer happy. And in all of the reviews that we've even looked at, it's amazing to me where people are like, how do I get better reviews? And it's go above and beyond. Provide excellent service, and reviews don't necessarily become a problem. The trickiest part is ask for a review. And what a lot of people don't realize is the way that how to actually ask for it is, again, like you're saying, when the project is done to completion, it's done well. You can also ask for things like character reviews, or you can do things like if you speak at the BNI or any kind of chamber event. That is actually someone engaging with your business. And we've talked about this a little bit on the previous episodes, but any legitimate engagement or interaction with your business is actually review worthy. So if we're on a call with someone, for example, and we go above and beyond for the client and say, hey, we weren't able to help you, but here's 3 things that you can do on your own to improve your local business profile. We can actually ask for a review for that. So it just astounds me to see a lot of businesses where they'll call up and let's say it's a roofer or it's a plumber or any painter, any kind of home service. And it's, yeah, we don't provide that service, and then hang up the phone. And you just missed that opportunity to ask someone for a potential review. Ask them like, hey, we don't offer that particular service. We don't do this particular type of painting, or we don't offer that kind of service, but I can direct you to someone who can. And that's where having a strong network and referral partnership really, really helps out, because if it's not something that I do, I may hand it to Rena. If it's not something that you do, you may hand it to me, or vice versa. Or we know other people within our network that setting up servers and IT and stuff like that may not necessarily be something that you or I want to do, but we got people who do.
Yes.
And that's their core business. So we can always refer them. That company's happy. The customer is taken care of. And I think that's the key point that a lot of businesses miss, is that they're just like, we don't offer that service. And that's the end of the conversation. Refer them. Take care of the customer. Do good by the customer. And you'll be surprised at how much easier it is for reviews to come in. And even be able to ask for reviews.
Nugget too, Brian. Like you just talked about, one of the nuanced golden nuggets that a lot of other companies don't get to come to the realization of or for. I believe a lot of business owners and company owners go through somewhat of an imposter syndrome, or not knowing the rules, or not having the confidence to take those steps in order to be able to support themselves. When I spoke at the Women in Paint conference, and I remember I have 100 female business owners sitting in front of me, and I asked, like, how many of you ask for reviews regularly? And a lot of them raised their hands up. And then I asked, how many of you feel like if you do a good job, the customer should automatically leave you a review? And a lot of the women raised their hand, and I was like, that's the hopium drug. Like, you're hoping that they leave you a review instead of just asking them and saying, this will have an impact in my company. And the audience, the way that they had responded to that realization of, just because I did a good job doesn't mean that the client's going to remember. Maybe they have so much they want to say that they're not going to be able to do it all, and then they forget and they set it aside, which is why it's important to have reminders. It's important to have CRMs. It's important to have it coming out via text, via email, to have the tap card right in front of you before you leave that house, and just say, this review would really mean a lot to me and my company. It makes or breaks a lot of different businesses. Just one review can do that sometimes. Not
absolutely
always, but sometimes.
I think to your point on what that looks like when it comes to the expectation of a review, right? Think about it in terms of just how that is affected when we engage with other businesses, right? Just because I go to get lunch somewhere doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to leave them a review. That's the same kind of correlation where it's I do a job, I should get a review. And the issue is that's not the case. It's saying, thank you so much for actually delivering on what I paid you for. That's not review worthy. What makes it review worthy is I've gotten what I paid for, and wow, you guys really amazed me with how clean it was. I didn't realize that you guys were going to go above and beyond and do X, Y, and Z, or complete the project in such a professional manner. That, I think, is where a lot of people get the whole idea of the expectation of a review. We did a job, I expect a review. Without going above and beyond for a customer and providing exceptional customer service with radical empathy and candor, you're asking them to leave you a review for a job that they just paid you for. I think that bar is initially set at like, did I get what I paid for, or are you asking me to leave a review for just doing your job?
Line, gray line, PK.
Are you asking me to leave a review because you didn't suck? That's
right?
Not really review worthy, right?
Sometimes it is, though. It depends on what industry you're in.
It can, but I think it's really interesting that it's like the not to go down too much of a tangent, but it's like getting a tip from a fast food company, or going through any of the Subway or anything like that, and they're like, would you like to tip us? I'm like, dude, I literally just told you this is what I want on my sandwich. I paid for the meal that was on your menu here, and you haven't really done anything. I wasn't waited on. I literally got what I came in to purchase, and all you did was assemble it. You didn't suck. Okay, so there's that, right? You didn't suck. Great. You gave me what I initially paid for. There wasn't really hey, by the way, we're going to give you a little extra scoop of this, or none of that. It's like literally what I paid for. And now you're asking for a tip and a review and all. Come on.
That's fast food and food industry. I mean, we have contractors. A lot of our check this out. So a lot of contractors, giving a contractor a review for a service area business is sometimes valuable, just so you know that the person didn't run away with your money, and they're actually licensed, and they do follow through, and they do call you back, and they do have transparency, and they do have a good crew, and they did do quality work. Like, just for the contractor industry especially, sometimes getting the job done and getting it done on time and getting it done to the level of the expectation is actually above and beyond 5-star service, because there's so many scammers out there, especially taking money and running and not following through, or using crap product that peels and chips, or trying to make a windowsill out of 2x4s that aren't painted. And there's so many hack jobs out there that sometimes just not sucking is worth a review.
But so to my point, just a point of clarity with that is that it shouldn't be expected that because you finish the job that you're going to get a review. You have to ask. And again, this often comes down to just those little nuanced components of, like you're saying, you completed the job, you didn't do a hack job. Making sure that when you've completed the job, following up with the customer, being like, hey, we just want to make sure, everything's good to go. And it may not be that you have to go out and fix anything, but following up with them, sending them a thank you card. Hey, thank you for trusting in our business to handle your contracting needs. Those small little gestures can go a very long way, because again, it's not going above and beyond or giving them free work or anything like that, but it's that level of professionalism that it's not just, I did the job, therefore you should be like bowing down and thanking me and giving me reviews and showering me with adoration and all this. That's not the expectation. You really do. If you provide great customer service and provide a great product and or service, that can be enough to get you a good review. So let's talk a little bit about the simple text template that someone can use. So when you're asking for a review, one of the first things that we always look for is positive sentiment. Now, beyond anything else, this is one of the things that Google will look at, whether it's a 4 or 5-star review. They're looking for sentiment. They want to know, was it a good experience or a bad experience? If they can work in what they did, and I'm not saying stuff it full of keywords. If you actually put in too many keywords, it'll flag the review as overly promotional. But have them tell what they did. Hey, I hired them for an interior painting job. They did fantastic. Absolutely love this. And if they can post a picture with that review, that's bonus points. Oftentimes the picture is really the differentiating factor of where something is positioned and how much it's highlighted in your reviews, especially on Google. And then one of the last points on here is review response. And let's talk a little bit about that. How should someone respond to the reviews?
Quickly. Quickly and professionally, because Google times you. And if it's a negative review that was left, everybody's reading our response and how we respond to a negative review. Did you handle it
100%.
professionally? Did you handle it like an a-hole? Did you handle it to where this person's clearly a scammer? Did you air their dirty laundry? Like, how are you going to treat them how are you going to treat the potential future client if something goes wrong?
That is 100% correct. People are looking at reviews, and when you're replying to reviews, it's not so much that you're replying directly to the person that left you a negative review. You're replying to the tens of other people that are potentially reading that review, considering, do I want to do business with this person? And I know both you and I have seen this time and time again, where they reply back, well, we can't find you in our customer database, and therefore you're not a customer. The problem with that is that maybe that's why they're not a customer. Maybe you cut them off in Starbucks or something that they could identify your business, and that's why they've left you a horrible review. That may be the reason why they're not in your customer database and why they're not a customer.
Yeah.
So it's understanding those kinds of things that when you're leaving these reviews, keep in mind that it's people that are also reading this and understanding the most recent reviews, the highest and the lowest, because they want to get a feel for what it's like to work with your business before they actually do business with you.
Who are
if
you?
You've got outstanding things saying you're the best in the business, without question, these are the guys I would go to. You're probably going to get, it's a flywheel effect, right? You're going to get more business, which again, then if you can provide that exceptional service with, you're going to get better and more reviews. On the same token, if you're providing a subpar service, people aren't going to be like, it was meh and it was okay. I wouldn't expect any kind of review. And really, at the end of the day, you don't want those kinds of reviews. You want to either blow it out of the water or address any kind of negativity. As we wrap it up, what's the one thing that you would recommend any of our listeners to do this week as it comes to reviews?
Just think about if you haven't already been on top of it, just reach out to work on getting 5 new reviews this week, if that's a lot for you, 20, if that's not a lot for you. Think about clients that you've done outstanding work with and reach out to them. Just ask them for a review. Send them a text message with your direct link. I do that even for some of the consults from time to time. I'm just like, hey, I need some more reviews. Hook it up. And people leave reviews when they remember
Absolutely.
to. And have time to.
You just have to ask. That's at the end of the day, that's what it is. Ask and do a good job for people.
30 seconds. 30 seconds. If a review is worth $1,000 or $10,000 or $50,000 for those of you who are basement finishers, or $150,000, like a new client is worth that much, each review is worth whatever your top ROI item is.
Absolutely. So with that, I would say share your wins with the group.
Yeah.
Tell us all about your wins. We'd love to celebrate that with you. And if you know of a contractor or you yourself needs some help with figuring out how to ask for reviews or getting more reviews through contacting customers, reach out to us. We'd be happy to discuss that as an option.
One more note, we will be going to Expo in a couple of weeks. The expo over in Orlando, Florida. So if you, one, are going, look for this woman right here. We are having a giveaway for the attendees of the expo. And two, if you find me and show me your reviews while you're at the expo, I'll have a little extra treat for you. Woo, prize, treat. Who likes to be surprised as a treat? I do. Talk to me about reviews at the expo, and I'll have a little goodie for you. Because that means you watched it. So you know.
Have a wonderful week, everyone. Be productive. Go ask for reviews.